won't they? A podcast for the hopeless and the romantics. My name's Danielle.
My name's Katie.
Oh my gosh, she coming in hot. Wow. We're trying to keep it upbeat today. I've got my period, so I'm trying to... Really?
Yeah.
Babes.
We're both bleeding.
I love shedding the inner lining of my uterus.
Together.
As long as I have a partner while doing it.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, we're trying to just keep it up. We're going to be probably yelling a lot. But today, there's a very important reason we'll be yelling a lot.
Screaming, love.
Because we are talking about, this week...
Drum roll, please.
My favorite romantic movie. A Dirty Dancing. Because I had the time of my life watching this movie with you.
And I owe it all to you, Danielle.
I had the time of my life watching this movie with you.
And I owe it all to you.
No, keep going. No, please stop.
Yeah, so we had the time of our lives.
This movie gets me so bad. It gets me down bad.
It gets you down bad. To be fair, we have watched this one other time together, like a year ago or something.
Yeah, just to watch it.
Just because we're,
truly passionate about making ourselves feel bad.
Passionate lovers.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That's news to me. Oh.
But individually, we are passionate lovers.
All right. Yeah, we can go there. Sure.
But yeah, so Dirty Dancing came out in 1987. And they really wanted us to believe that the movie took place in 1963, honey.
I was in it. I would not believe it came out in the 80s.
Summer 1963.
Psych. They tried so hard to do like the 60s. I feel like they gave it a really fair shot.
Because I think that they didn't. I would like to know, but I almost think they were like, we're going to blend them.
Yeah.
We're going to give it a little blend.
It's going to be 80s and 60s.
We're going to have 80s music in this 60s movie
so
like it's not weird.
But also, my favorite thing is like it starts out with a voiceover from Baby, but then you never get the voiceover again. Ever again.
Danielle,
yeah.
I never noticed that before.
It's like, why do the voiceover then?
She's like, it's summer 1963.
Before Kennedy was shot. Before this, that, the other thing. And then you just never hear from her again.
Wow, that's so true.
I feel like that happens a lot in rom-coms. Like, they feel like they have to set up a backstory without, like, putting in the work to set up a backstory. So they're like, we'll just have you do a voiceover and then... just go from there.
Oh my gosh. I honestly never thought about that.
It's so wild to me. Oh my days.
Oh my days.
We're so annoying.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it starts with a voiceover from Baby. And like, yeah, I clocked that. Like I wrote it down. I was like, I don't think I remember the voiceover because I've watched this movie going on 500 times at this point in my life.
Same.
And I never like clocked that there was a voiceover in the beginning. And I was like, wait. That never comes back.
What?
Like, even at the end where it's like, and then Johnny and I had the most magnificent summer, or,
Yeah, there's never...
nothing.
Yeah, okay, well, work. I think, here's the thing that I really want to say about this film. Despite its many potential disastrous flaws, it somehow is one of the most popular movies, let alone romantic movies of all time. Like everybody knows and loves Dirty Dancing. It's a classic. If you haven't seen it, and like, stop right now, don't get spoiled and go watch it because it's one you want to
don't let us spoil it because I want you to watch it.
You want to experience.
Because like there are some rom-coms where you can, get the gist.
You know what's going to happen. But like Dirty Dancing is so special.
It holds a very special place in my heart. But I think it's also an important movie because like I don't think people discuss like the classism and like how they talked about abortion so openly within the movie as well. Like I think it's also important. Like obviously it's not trying to like break barriers, but at the same time it kind of did because even in the 80s those topics were still kind of taboo.
No, it's true. And I feel like I don't know, I feel like this movie it has a magic to it. It really does. Like that weirdly worked. It just worked.
I also feel
and
like,
I didn't know, and I found out they won an Oscar, which I didn't know. The director won an Oscar.
Yeah, we did a lot of research. By a lot of research, I mean we read his Wikipedia page.
Googled.
But I also feel like this movie should be called Dirty Dancing, Baby's Introduction to Class Consciousness.
I don't think it would have had the same ring to it, babe.
Dirty Dancing, Baby buys a copy of Marx's Manifesto.
Damn. Okay, so his name was Emile Ardolino.
Ardolino.
And he directed Dirty Dancing and Sister Act and
Three Men and a Baby.
Three Men and a Baby.
He won an Oscar for Dirty Dancing, which
I did not know. It makes it. Oh, he did Gypsy with Bette Midler.
Oh, warranted to win an Oscar for this because I feel like people don't talk about the production of this movie either. Like it's just so well done. I can't gush about this movie enough if we're being perfectly honest. Like I said, it's my favorite movie. My favorite romantic movie, honestly, up there in my favorite movies. It's just it's like very much a comfort movie for me, you know?
Me too. And I feel like, I think, I don't know, like I was saying to you, like I remember watching it in the summer and just like anytime it was on TBS with my mom and one of my best friends, Melissa Jackson, we would watch it like on Friday nights when we were just like, we need like a cookies and chips and Dirty Dancing.
Yeah.
I mean, also just like Patrick Swayze's beauty is just so timeless. His arms are so timeless. And like Jennifer Grey, I will always love Jennifer Grey before and after Nose Job. You love her.
This movie sent me into a bisexual panic when I first watched it when I was younger.
I can attest that she, in fact, has bisexual panic while watching this film.
Every time. Especially the scene where they're like doing the dancing montage and it's her and Penny and like he's watching and I'm like...
And he's sweating. He's drenched in sweat.
I'm like, can I watch too?
Yeah.
I mean, I am, but like, can you acknowledge that I'm there and then like maybe we make out? Like maybe, like if you're comfortable with it, but like let's all just like see where the night takes us, crack open some wine.
I love this for you. Yeah, I feel like it definitely has a very sensual hold on you.
Oh my God, yes.
But that's the thing. I feel like this movie, it really feels like it was made for like, not to be gendering, but like it was made for a feminine gaze.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just like
we talked about that because the director is gay and we were like, there's no way, like.
I literally was like, there's no way that a straight white male directed this.
It's too like
it's
romantic.
It's like real romantic
in a way that like toxic masculinity wouldn't allow a straight man to direct it.
Exactly. And also wouldn't allow like Patrick Swayze to be so have like be more in touch with like the dancing and like the femininity, but
sensuality.
Still be extremely masculine, like showing that people are capable of both, I think.
And we were gushing about Patrick Swayze because like he's just one of those actors who like you can tell is very in touch with like a sensitive side of himself, like where he can do action movies, but he can also do these romantic movies, and he can also do very important like queer movies that are important to the culture, like To Wong Fu, and like just like have this amazing prolific career, unfortunately cut short. But like, yeah, we had a moment where we cried about Patrick Swayze watching this.
You know what? I was just looking at him, and I just like, I felt so overwhelmed that like, even though he passed away and it was like so tragic, he was young and everything, like the amount of people he affected, even just with like this character in this movie, or like To Wong Fu, or like any of his other films that were so successful. Like I just had this moment of really appreciating what he did for the world. And I just had this weird feeling. I think what made me cry was I was like, I hope he knew how important he was.
I really hope he does. And like
literally,
even if he didn't then, he knows it now. His spirit knows it. And we're just putting that out there so that Patrick Swayze, if you're listening, in whatever plane you are appreciated, and we love you.
We love you.
We truly do. And it's just, It's a pleasure to watch his movies.
I mean, it may have affected me. Like, I told Danielle, I was like, I really thought a man like this was going to take my virginity like, after watching this movie.
Honestly.
But, yeah, we love Patrick Swayze.
There are parts in this movie where I'm just like, I am baby. And, like, I just
You really relate.
the role.
You really relate.
She's just one of those characters where it's like you don't see... Like, it's not that you don't see the character very often, but she's very, like, innocent in the sense that she wants to help the world, but she hasn't seen a lot of the world. But at the same time, she's willing to do what it takes to help people. And, like, when she does see it, she, like, discusses how it's different and how, like, her life is different from others' lives. And, like, she hasn't had to really face that before because she's just kind of, like, this sheltered rich girl who's, like, I'm going to help everybody. And, like, I can do that as, like, a wealthy white woman.
Yeah.
But then she realizes, like, her dad tells her to help all these people, but she realizes, you know, you only want me to help people who are like us. And that's not what I'm about. And, like, her character is so fleshed out. Like, I just think it's so well written. Screenplay was written by a woman as well.
Mm-hmm.
I just think the characters in this movie are all so, like, multifaceted and, like, three-dimensional that it's like these are like real people with real issues, and like you just get really sucked into the story, and it's
so damn good.
It's insane.
Dirty Dancing, baby.
So we're gonna like discuss the plot line a bit, but also probably do a lot of tangents because I love this movie so much.
Listen, I don't know what you're talking about, but we are incredibly good at staying focused and dedicated to a particular
the craft.
The craft.
Yeah, so let's get into it. Let's get down to it. Let's get
Did you want to get into
over it? Let's get into it.
Did you want to get into it?
Let's get out of it.
You want to get out of it?
Into?
In?
Out. Patrick Swayze.
Patrick. Should we do a seance?
No.
Can that be one of our episodes?
Let's let him just
okay. I just want him to know.
I think he knows.
Okay. Moving on.
So we open on a voiceover that never returns. But it's pretty much just like we come to this like, really upscale vacation resort in the summer,
super family oriented, which is like not really a thing anymore. Like,
no. And they discuss this in the movie.
Yeah, and I feel like if you do have like a family oriented like vacation, it's like there's a kids section and like an adult section, but it was very like
we want everyone
to spend time together. Yeah.
So it's like up in the Catskills, and it's very much like just wealthy white people going away for the summer, being able to take vacation. And they discuss how baby's dad, this is his first vacation in 6 years. Baby's dad is a doctor. Baby's family is obviously very much wealthy, and she has an older sister and a mom, and it's very 60s. The mom is kind of quiet, demure. The sister's very much like wanting to be daddy's girl, but it's very obvious that baby is daddy's girl because he's always like, she's gonna change the world.
Yeah, and he's clearly like head of the household situation. Like, he makes the rules, but he's not like a dick. But like you can tell it's definitely very like traditional family structure. He's
very much like in his own bubble, never had to think outside of the bubble, and thinks anyone outside of the bubble is different and shouldn't be acknowledged.
Right.
So there's this they have like a little mixer where they're all having dinner. There's dancing, and we see this couple dancing, and they're so good. They're so good at dancing.
Amazing.
They're almost dirty dancing.
But
they're
keeping it above bar.
Yeah. When they start to dirty dance, that's when the owner of the hotel says, "How dare you dance so good?"
What does he say?
"Quit entertaining my guests."
I know that's what I hired you for.
I know that's exactly why I hired you, but stop it.
You're too good.
You're too good. Stupid. It makes no sense why he's so angry.
So you see Penny and Johnny for the first time. Johnny is Patrick Swayze. And they are dancing. They are just beautifully dancing. Taking my breath away.
Take my breath away. And baby's just so enraptured. She's talking to like the hotel manager's son, and he's just a bore. He's very rich, very much thinks he's got it in the bag with baby because he's rich. And she's just like, you're just like everyone else. I know exactly who you are. She's
British.
not
She's
British. She's not.
Oh, Lord.
But
Lord.
yeah, she's just very entertained by what they're doing. And so the dance ends, everyone goes home, and we see another character. I can't remember his name. It's something. He's got a name. It's not very important.
He's basically
he's
Johnny's
actually, like,
cousin.
the hero of the story.
He's you said it.
Yeah, he's the unsung hero of the movie, because if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have Baby and Johnny meeting. But he's trying to carry watermelons to this
big ol' fucking watermelons.
3 big old watermelons to this like after party for all the staff. And Baby sees him and she decides to help because if nothing, Baby is helpful. So she carries a watermelon, and when she gets in, everyone's dancing, and it's the first time she's seeing like dirty dancing. Like she's seeing people grinding, like not like middle school, high school dance grinding.
I think his name's Billy.
Billy. So Billy is his name. Billy, the unsung hero of Dirty Dancing. And what's nice is Billy, like, at first you think he's like into Baby, but then I think he sees like her and Johnny's relationship and like steps back, because that's why he like brought her in. And because Johnny, when he sees Baby come in, he goes, Billy, what's she doing here? And he goes, she's with me. I know the script front and back.
Front and back, baby.
So she's watching all these people dance, and she's very enraptured because it's the first time she's ever seen people move their bodies.
Yeah, really like giving this the hips and the grinding and this. I remember the first time watching it being like, yeah.
And they're not scantily clad, but I guess for the 60s they're showing a lot more skin.
It's definitely like the like underground scene. You know what I mean? It's like
it's the lower class.
Yeah.
Which is like the whole point of the movie, is these are like the people who work there, but it's crazy because there's even like a caste system within the employees. Like you have the people who teach all the like recreational activities, which is like the Johnny, Penny, all the people who do the dances and the wig try-ons. And then there's also like the waiters, and they're technically like, they're well-to-do, quote-unquote, men who are going to college.
Yeah.
That's Robbie.
Robbie.
He's very interested in Penny's
Dickhead.
or in Baby's sister, but has a situation with Penny, as we find out. But then there's also like just the guests who are obviously richer than the waiters.
Yes.
But anyway, Johnny doesn't want Penny, or why do I keep saying Penny? Johnny doesn't want Baby there because she's one of the guests. She's rich, and he says, no way, but she stays, and eventually we get their first scene dancing together.
First of all, he says, go back. Oh my God. When he says, go back to your playpen, baby.
Oh my God. Humiliate me, Johnny.
He was definitely Danielle. No, he definitely was like, she's gonna ruin this for us. Like, why is this like hoity-toity rich girl? Hoity-toity. I pulled that. I don't know where I pulled that out of. Hoity-toity rich girl.
Hoity-toity rich Goyle.
Goyle. Ew.
I don't like that.
I don't like that either. Gargoyle. Anyways.
Yeah, gargoyle.
It's the energy is very mean. It's very unwelcoming. But there's also this like,
it's like
curiosity.
It's like
between
weird,
them.
like, unfortunately, like, if he's mean to you, he likes you. But like a curiosity where it's like he's mean to her, but at the same time, like, why is she there?
Why is she interested? Why is she there?
So intrigued? So we get their first scene dancing because he sees her. Johnny sees Baby kind of just like standing there bopping along, and like she doesn't really know how to dance, and it's kind of an issue because when she first starts dancing, it's a little cringy, but like he teaches her how to like move her hips.
Oh my God, yeah, it's very sexy, and I mean she's
sensual.
not, but he is, and then she gets sexy.
And like you can tell for him, it's just like, I'm just gonna teach this girl how to do it, like with a hint of flirting.
Yeah,
but not as much as we see later.
And he's kind of like being a little bit facetious with her.
Yeah, it's a really cute moment. It's like Like, you immediately are rooting for these two at the top of the movie. You're like, he's hot, she's hot. Let's dirty dance.
Let's get these two fools dirty dancing.
D&D-ing.
No.
They're playing Dungeons and Dragons.
That's what this movie's actually about.
Yeah, so then, like, later in the movie, we find out that Penny has a situation. Penny is pregnant with Robbie, the waiter's baby.
And Robbie is currently interested in
baby's sister.
So there's, like,
Marjorie.
layers of concern going on.
Because, you know, Robbie we'll get to that.
So baby finds Penny crying, and she's like,
what's
trying to help
on?
her, basically. And Penny's resistant to talking to baby, but eventually admits that, she's preggers. And
so she brings Johnny over to help Penny, and baby assumes it's Johnny's baby. And Johnny goes, oh, so it must be mine. Like, there's a lot of, like, presumptuous. I can't talk. I'm just going to whistle into the microphone.
With your teeth.
I don't know why I whistled like that. Like a gopher. There's a lot of assumptions going on.
You did it.
I did it. I said it without whistling. Ugh. And so they find out that, you know, Penny wants to get an abortion because she and Robbie are not together anymore. She can't afford to have a baby. Like, just a lot of different factors. She doesn't need to have a reason.
This is a controversial time for such a thing to take place. Even 1987, when the movie was made.
Yep.
Abortion, controversial. But in 1963?
Yeah.
I mean, this is like an unspoken, like, not really done publicly or, you know, thing. But what else is she going to do? I mean, I love that it comes up in the movie because it's
I am obsessed with this. Not that I'm obsessed with abortion, but I love this storyline because it's like I've never seen a movie talk about it before this movie.
Yeah. No, and you find out that she was kicked out of her house when she was 16.
Yeah.
And so she became a dancer because it was the only thing she knew how to do.
And she doesn't have a support system.
This isn't a situation where she can just have the baby and like be okay.
Because if she has the baby and puts it up for adoption, everyone's going to see she's pregnant and judge her.
She won't be able to work.
And this is the 60s. She can't
she
work
can't
if
dance.
she's pregnant.
Yeah. So it's such a layered situation where you're
so sad.
It definitely, I think, is one of the first times I ever saw like
a media portrayal.
an abortion situation where you're seeing like how like it's very humanized. You're like, well, what would you do?
Yeah.
Like that situation feels almost impossible to figure out.
So baby, you know, she's like, well, what about Robbie? I know him. He has the money because they found a doctor who can perform the abortion for $250, but no one has that money. And she's like, well, what about Robbie? And they're all like, no, Robbie sucks. So baby decides she's going to talk to Robbie. We find out Robbie's a scumbag. He's convinced it's not his baby, and even if it is, why should he care? And baby dumps Wooder on him because she's a stand-up gal.
And she's like, fuck you.
Like, it's disgusting. Robbie is the worst character.
Toxic.
So baby decides she's going to ask daddy for money. And she asks him, she's like, Daddy, can I have $250? There's someone who really needs help, and you said we should always help people. And she doesn't tell him what it's for. So she brings back the money, and everyone's like, oh, thank you so much. But then Johnny's like, yeah, it must be real hard asking daddy for money.
Which, you know, I can understand having that bias, but like also $250 at that time was still no insignificant amount.
Yeah.
Know, that would still be, I mean, at least my parents would be
I can't imagine asking my parents for $25, let alone $250.
Exactly. So it's like it's not that easy. But I also understand where Johnny's coming from. Like, wow, you have somebody who can do it. You know what I mean? Like, you have somebody who can help you.
But then we discover that now that they have the money, it's still impossible for them to have the abortion because the doctor can only come on a certain night.
Thursdays.
A Thursday night.
And that's when they dance at the Sheldrake.
The Sheldrake. And
they need that money.
They're trying to figure it out. And Johnny's like, you know, baby, people work here. Someone can't just fill in. So baby says, Billy says, why doesn't baby fill in? And, you know, this is where we start.
This is like
our magnificent journey.
Begins because baby says, I'll do it.
Enemies to lovers, baby.
I'll do it.
Well, she doesn't want to do it at first. She
True.
says, I've got 2 left feet. I cannot
True.
dance.
She's like, I can't dance. But Billy's like, you should. But then so she's like, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah,
you know?
it's really... So then we get a montage. First of many, I'm sure.
Dance montage, baby.
It's like a solid, 6-minute montage.
It's a long
montage.
I'm like clinging on to each moment.
It's not a montage where you think that was way too long. I wouldn't have wanted a single scene cut from that montage.
No.
Because it shows the progression of him teaching her. You know, how they start out. She's very awkward. She's just a cute, awkward girl that doesn't really know how to move. So Johnny's teaching her all these moves, and the montage is so good.
It's so good.
It's where we get the infamous lake lift scene.
Oh, it's all, and you just see them slowly growing,
comfortable with each other,
to like each other.
Mm-hmm.
They go to the woods in the rain.
You're wild.
Yeah, wait. You're wild. What?
You're wild. I told you I'm in love with this movie. I said it in the same exact pitch at the same exact time.
But you know what it is though? I feel like the reason why this movie can be so relatable for so many people is because
Mm-hmm.
I think we all want or wanted that person to come into our lives that made us feel like you're wild.
Yep.
I'm living, I'm alive.
Yeah,
you know?
you're just fun. You're willing to break your car window so we can go drive somewhere.
And just breaking the rules in general. It's just that feeling of wanting someone who can just kind of shake up your maybe mundane or sort of predictable life, and he definitely does that for her
100%.
and she's hella breaking the rules, her father's rules at this point, even just hanging around him, let alone learning how to dance,
let alone paying for someone's abortion
also.
So yeah, we finally get to the night where it's the big night they've been training for. I mean, hold on, let's go back to the lake scene for a second.
Okay.
I just want to talk about it.
Okay.
It's so good. She's just so cute. I'm obsessed with Jennifer Grey, and I want to look at her face all day, every day. And I just think she's beautiful, and she does such a good job acting in this movie and being cute and fun. And
I feel like if you like our podcast, it's just because you like to hear us talking about how much we love celebrities.
Honestly,
last week I talked about Steve Carell for 20 minutes of our podcast.
Probably, yeah. You just like to hear us thirst over people that that are not within reach.
But yeah, that scene, the lake lift scene is so iconic.
And we just talked about it last week in Crazy Stupid Love.
Yeah, trivia. We talked about it last week.
Everybody loves this movie.
This scene is iconic to all.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Being lifted. Mm-hmm. Again, a dream of mine, personally. But yeah, it's a great scene.
Yeah.
And just them being wet and in the water and just laughing and
laughing and
oh my
giggling.
God, almost kissing, and you're just
there's so much sexual tension.
her nipples are hard. It's just it's a whole situation.
They're so hard in that scene. I wasn't
She's
gonna
wearing.
say
They
it,
put
but,
her in a white tank top, and then they put her in the water. They
knew what they were doing.
They knew what they were doing.
They were like, no, it's gonna be fine. And it's like Jennifer Aniston through most of Friends. Nipples are just out.
Nipple City. Yeah.
Nipple City.
Yeah. But we love a nipple.
So they get to the night where they're dancing at the Sheldrake. And
I'm on the edge of my seat, bud. What's gonna happen?
they get there. They get to the Sheldrake. We're just gonna do a little ASMR at the Sheldrake. No, I'm just kidding.
Imagine. Okay.
The whole podcast, we just do ASMR, dirty dancing. So they get to the Sheldrake, and she's very done up. She looks very cute. And they do the dance, and she does the dance really well. But when it comes time for the lift, I think this is a good indicator of how their relationship is progressing.
Okay, work.
Because, it's a metaphor. Because he says, you won't hurt me if you trust me when it comes to the lift. And, they're not quite at that point where they can trust each other yet.
You won't hurt me if you trust me.
Yeah. they're not quite at the point where they trust each other yet in their relationship. So she doesn't do the lift, and she does this cute little almost like Ashley Simpson jig when she was caught lip syncing instead of the lift.
Wow. Forgot about that.
Pop culture moment for you.
We love.
But it's very much like an indicator, like they're very comfortable with each other and you can tell things are going well, but like she's just not quite ready to trust him yet. Yeah. And I think it's both ways. Like
same.
For him, it's obviously like he can get out of his head and like just do the lift because this is what he was born to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do the dance. Everyone loves it. And they're heading back to the resort. And she's getting changed in the back of his car.
Oh my God, hot.
This scene is so cute.
So cute.
And they're like talking, and she's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe that was crazy. I saw the little old couple from the resort and thought it was over." And he's like, "Haha, yeah, me too." And it's like just so fraught with like,
tension.
Will they? Won't they?
Will they? Won't they?
This is very much that.
Will they? Won't they?
And they're just giggling. She's getting changed, and you see him like glancing in the rearview mirror, like taking
my God,
a little
he's
pee.
so hot.
And like she can see him doing it, but she doesn't stop him.
We think he's a Scorpio. Try to contest it. He is.
And she's a Virgo.
He's misunderstood. He's like sexy without trying. He's kind of like
fucking Scorpios.
He's so hot. It's so annoying. He's got the eyes.
The eyes.
He's got the Scorpio look in his eye.
True.
Look in your eye. Do-do-do-do.
Her body close to me.
Okay. But yeah, so they get back.
They get back to the resort. I'm sorry. I'm like I didn't realize I would want to take so much lead on this one, but like I'm just going for it. If I'm talking too much at any point, you can tell me to shut up, but it's going to be after we've already edited and posted the podcast. So like have fun.
No,
with
buddy.
that.
I love this. This is like your favorite movie.
So they get back to the resort and Penny has had her abortion. But as soon as they park, Billy comes running out and he's like, it's Penny. Like the doctor was a hack. He was using rusty tools.
Yeah.
I could hear her screaming.
He had a dirty knife and something.
He was like, I could hear her screaming from the resort.
But he couldn't get to her.
So they come in and Penny looks like she's like close to death.
Yeah, she's shaking. Obviously has a fever.
She's blood loss.
Yeah.
So baby decides she's going to run and get her father doctor.
But
actually, father.
And like this really is like such a brave moment in my opinion because like
brave. She's willing to put it all on the line.
She knows that her dad, knows that he's never going to look at her the same. Mm-hmm. But she also knows that like if she doesn't do this, like Penny could die.
Yeah. And she knows it's the right thing to do, even if her father never looks at her
the same. And just a side note, how fucked up is it that during that time she literally was like, they were like, we should call 911. We should call 911.
Yes.
And Penny's like, don't, because
they'll arrest me.
Yeah, they'll arrest her. Literally at this time, for a woman to have an abortion, she would get arrested. It's just so fucking crazy.
I'm just very thankful for the time we live in now. I know it's still a contested issue, but I'm very grateful that we are able to do that.
At least now, while we're, and thank you to Planned Parenthood. 100%. Donate to Planned Parenthood. They're amazing.
Yeah, we can put in a link of like ways to donate to Planned Parenthood after this in the about section. But
for sure.
So she goes, but yeah, like I can't talk about Planned Parenthood enough. I love that place.
Know, same.
Love that place. But so she gets her dad. He saves Penny's life, essentially. He assumes Johnny got her into this spot.
That's the thing, that because he says
Johnny on the spot.
He says who's responsible for her, and Johnny, because they're best friends and like family. He says I am. So her dad is like judging the hell out of him, which sucks.
So yeah, he saves Penny's life, and as they're walking back to their cabin, her dad like pretty much like dresses her down and says like, I can't believe you used my money for this. You're not the person I thought you were, and take that stuff off your face before your mother sees you.
He's done. He's
pissed.
He's very hurt.
And I don't even think it's because that she got an abortion. I think he's A, hurt that she lied to him, and B, hurt that like they used an unprofessional doctor that could have risked someone's life.
Like, yeah, he says you should have told me.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the thing, like from the beginning, if she had just been honest with him about the situation.
He could have found someone that was like,
but
you never know how he's going to react.
In the 1960s, that's a difficult thing to be honest to a male about.
Especially because, like, if you could get arrested for it, he could have, like, told the management.
Reported
everyone would have been fired.
Anything could happen. So, as much as, like, yeah, she probably should have told him the truth.
You don't know how they're going to react.
That's a scary thing. It goes back to the trust thing, too. You know, trusting yourself and trusting, you know, people around you. Because I think I would have had a hard time.
Yeah.
I mean, I still would have a hard time, like...
It's a difficult
dealing with that with my parents.
For some people, it's a lot easier because, like, you know, it's just a process. But for some people, it's a lot more difficult. And either way you handle the situation is right for you.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so we get to
basically after that scene. I feel like after she fights with her dad, she's kind of like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Like, I've gone this far. Even though he says
you can't see these people anymore.
She's like, I've gone this far, and I know what I want, and I know who I am. And so where does she go? She goes to Johnny's room.
She goes to Johnny's room, and we finally get the answer to will they, won't they? And they sure as hell do.
You know what? I have to say, like, the speech that she gives in his room, it's like pouring rain, and they're just, like, listening to music.
God.
And the speech that she gives, that speech has stuck with me for my whole life. And I remember, like, having it as, like, my away message and, like, putting it as a Facebook status at some point.
Now I'm scared of walking out of this room.
It's just so vulnerable. Like, she's like... You know, because he says, like, you're brave for going to your dad. And she's like, oh, yeah, my dad's money or whatever. And he's like, no, like, baby, what you did was really brave. Like,
you can tell they're both, like, changing their views.
They're seeing each other for the first time for real. They're understanding, like, both sides of the story. And she's understanding, so like, his anger towards the wealthy people. And he's understanding her naivety and how... both coming together, like both of those energies can be really helpful because it's important to have an understanding. Yeah. But it's also important to stay optimistic and hopeful.
Yeah. And I mean, because like he tells Baby about like, you know, these wealthy women using him for his body and essentially like sexually assaulting him. Yeah. Because they know he's poor and they know if they give him enough money, like he'll sleep with them because they're lonely and bored. And it's just very vulnerable moments between the two of them. And like they're dancing in his room. There's just like music coming from the stereo. Don't you feel like crying?
Don't you feel like crying? And I just want to say, again, this is why I feel for sure that this was obviously not made by a straight white man. Because that scene when they're undressing each other and dancing is like, I can't think of a more sensual scene in a movie.
No. There's not another sex scene without it being a sex scene that I'm obsessed with.
It's so sensual. It is like what I want to see in a porn. It's just like tender and sexy, and you can tell they're so both tender. They're both so like into each other. Like there's this moment where she like kisses his neck and his eyes roll to the back of his damn head. God. Like it's like such a hot scene. I really can't think of another scene that like it's so like I don't know, like carefully done and done with such like
care. It was very done with a lot of care because I think they knew their target audience and knew what women wanted to see in a sex scene. They don't want to always see like the breaking through the door and, you know, rolling around
which
sex.
I also like, don't get me wrong. But or just like them kissing and then going under the covers. Like I think like incorporating dance into that scene was so important. It just it's hot.
It's so well
and
done.
I was saying to Danielle, like I feel like this is such a like female coming of age story,
which we would never get to see,
which you don't get to see a lot. And it was that moment for her where she just like let go and was able to be vulnerable. I know
who I am as an adult woman now.
Yeah, like I'm terrified, but I'm so afraid that I'm never gonna feel this way again, and I need to be here and just be present and experience this moment.
We love.
So they have a beautiful, sensual, gorgeous sex scene.
He learns her name finally.
Frances.
I kind of love that name.
Frances. It's cute. Yeah.
Call her Frankie.
And the next morning, we find out Penny is okay, which is really good.
And
there's a tension between them for sure.
Yeah, Penny's like, end it with her. Like, she figures out Johnny and
She
Baby
can
are
tell.
together. She says, Johnny, what are you doing? What are you doing,
And she's like,
Johnny?
we always said we wouldn't mess with
We wouldn't mess around with them.
Yeah.
So after he leaves Penny's room,
Like, I know what I'm doing, Penny.
Yeah. Baby's outside waiting for him, and they're kissing, and Robbie walks by, the one who knocked Penny up. And Robbie goes, oh, I guess I chose the wrong sister. Don't worry, baby. I went slumming too. And this, he's referring to Penny, obviously. This sets Johnny off, so he beats the shit out of Robbie.
Okay, and Johnny, he doesn't just beat the shit out of Robbie.
Yeah.
There's one point where he's looking at him. He's already like punching him. And he stops for a minute and he says, hit me. Oh my God. Call the police. He says, hit me. And then he gives him like a pathetic punch, and then Johnny takes him down, and
I love when Johnny picks him up by his hair and then punches him again.
And then he goes, "You're not worth it. You're not worth it." Oh my God,
it's so hot,
gorgeous. Yeah.
So yeah, that happens.
We love male aggression. Sometimes.
We have a scene where we have my favorite scene in the movie with Sylvia.
That's your favorite scene too?
Yeah.
Yeah. Favorite scene.
They're just
together.
off.
Yeah. You can tell they're just like in their element.
Yeah.
And there's a scene where she
looks so cute. Her outfit is like my favorite outfit in the whole movie.
And you can tell they're comfy with each other. And they goof around with this song Love Is Strange. And it's like,
how do you call your lover boy?
Come here, lover boy.
And if he doesn't answer,
oh, lover boy.
And if it still doesn't answer,
I simply say, baby.
End of fair use.
Oh, baby.
We're going to get copywritten.
You're the one. Boom, 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 boom.
But they're just very comfortable and
Favorite
silly,
scene.
having so much fun, and it's so sweet.
Very playful. And Patrick says he's so hot in that scene.
Make me lose my breath.
Literally. Can you keep up? We have to stop. We're going to get copy eroded.
So Neil interrupts it because he's the worst. He's a fucking worm.
And that's the son of the owner.
Yeah.
So he's just like comes in and he's like,
it's just sniveling.
he sees it.
He's
kind of.
weasel.
He can tell there's a little tension.
He's like, I can do the pachanga. But anyway, Johnny kind of pisses Neil off because Neil's like, I was thinking something different for the final dance. And Johnny's like, I have so many ideas. And Neil's like, I was thinking more on the way of not that. And Johnny's like, yeah, whatever, Neil, fine. And doesn't like immediately submit to him because Neil has a superiority complex.
Because he's got a small little wiener.
And Patrick Swayze doesn't. I was going to go further, but I was like, no.
We just know that man does not have a small wiener.
He was big dick energy before big dick energy.
BDE, baby. That's so true.
Yeah.
Patrick Swayze. Even the name.
Baby.
Just like even saying it, like
Swayze.
Patrick Swayze. Do you remember Alloy or like Delia's? Do you remember those magazines?
Mm-hmm.
I remember after he passed away, R.I.P. Rest in power, baby. There was a T-shirt that said "Crazy for Swayze," but my mom would never let me get those T-shirts because they were like, I don't know, $20 or something, and I'd be like, Mom, please, I need it. And I was like, Mom, I need this Patrick Swayze shirt, and she wouldn't let me get it.
God, I want a T-shirt now that says "Crazy for Swayze."
I know.
I've already got a T-shirt that says "The Mummy," more like the Daddy, with Brendan Fraser on it. Can we please get one with "Crazy for Swayze"?
Crazy for Swayze.
Anyway. So the next scene we have is
they accuse him.
Yeah, they're at breakfast. The family's at breakfast, and they accuse Johnny of stealing wallets because he didn't have an alibi for the night before when the wallet was stolen.
And it was like there was theft at like the other hotel too that he worked at, so there was just like a lot kind of going against him.
And the person who's accusing him is actually one of the women he was sleeping with, but he put his foot down and was kind of like, no,
I don't want to sleep with you anymore.
I don't want to sleep with you. And she was butthurt because she's a rich woman who doesn't get used to hearing no. Anyway, so they're accusing Johnny, and Baby's like, no, it's not him. Maybe it's the shoemakers. Like, I saw them with all these wallets, and they were at the Sheldrake. And they're like, no, it wasn't. He doesn't have an alibi. We're going to go fire him. And she says,
he actually does have an alibi.
The reason he was alone in his room last night, and I know he was alone, is because I was with him. And, like, that's also brave. She's so brave saying that in front of her father.
Literal mic drop.
And her father just has this look. You can, like, his heart shatters, which is, like, annoying. Like, boo-hoo. Baby lost her virginity even though she's in college. Like, get over it. And this is when we get the next scene, which I think is very iconic for the movie, where she kind of, like, stands up to her dad. And she's just, like...
He's, like, sitting, staring out into, like, the waters, like, dramatically.
Such a diva.
And I just feel like when she goes out there and she says to him, like...
I know I let you down, Daddy, but you let me down, too.
Yeah. Basically, like, you've said it a few times, like, you only want to help people who are like you, mm-hmm. and I thought that you taught me to be... I thought you wanted me to really help people, but that's not true. And she just kind of goes off and is just like, I'm really sorry that I disappointed you, and I'm sorry, and I love you. Yeah. And it's like such a sad, vulnerable moment. And as she's leaving, she's crying, and then it like goes over to him, and he's like crying really hard too.
It is a very sad moment. Like when he's crying, like seeing men cry always does something to me, like because they're not allowed to, according to the laws of toxic masculinity. Toxic masculinity. But like watching him kind of have that moment with himself, like, you know, accepting what she said. So baby goes to Patrick or Johnny.
She goes to Johnny, and he basically says they fired me anyway. And so
you see her kind of have this moment where she like loses hope.
She loses hope. She's like,
you were right, Johnny. Sorry. I keep interrupting because there's so many iconic lines.
Go ahead.
You know, Johnny, you were right. It doesn't matter.
And he's like, no, it matters more than ever, baby.
It's so like, cute watching their like mind frames flip.
Yeah. And he's just like, you know, no one's ever done something like that for me before. Mm-hmm. No one's ever stuck up for me like that. Like he accepts it with grace because he realizes that like the love that he got to share with baby was more important than any other thing. And like finding somebody who would stand up for you, and finding someone who was brave enough to like, you know, like drop their naivety and like experience another aspect of the world. Yeah. And to stand up to her dad and admit to her dad that she's seeing Johnny, because there was a scene that we didn't mention where they see Johnny or her dad walk out of a bungalow with Marjorie and Robbie, and like they jump down and hide from him, like she's hiding Johnny. So to finally like admit to her dad, like, yeah, I was with Johnny, and like this is who I'm seeing, like I think it's like another added layer to like why Johnny is so moved by what she's done. Yeah. So he leaves basically, and there's like a little moment. She's like the wind, which like trivia, they were just like, do you want to record a song? And he was like, yeah. So it's actually Patrick Swayze singing that song while he leaves. Patrick Swayze's like, I can sing, I can dance, I can act. What can't I do? So yeah, so he does. So he's singing while they basically, it's really positive. Like the ending for them is just very much like, I'm moving on, and we had so much fun such together. A great summer, like, and they both said, I don't regret a thing. Yeah. And he drives off, and she's like sad, but she's okay. She's holding it together, because I think there's a part of her that knows that like it did the right thing. It changed them both for the better, and even if that was all that they ever had, it was worth it. It was worth it. Even though I was like, I would have been sobbing hysterically. I would not have been able to keep my shit together. I would have been like, wait, you were the best sex I ever had. Don't leave me. But it was very graceful on both of their parts, which I cannot relate. But so we finally get to the final talent show. It's like the end of summer. They're doing this like boring ass performance. Baby's just sitting in the corner. And a little foreshadowing there. She's just sitting in the corner. She's quiet. She's just watching. Her sister's up there singing, and then we have Robbie walking by the table. And
baby's father decides he's going to give Robbie like some scholarship
money, which is crazy.
Just like money to pay for medical school.
Yeah.
And Robbie goes, oh, thank you so much. And also thank you for helping out with the whole Penny situation. And her dad's like, what?
And he's like, we all get into these type of situations, I guess.
Yeah.
He's like, excuse me.
So and he's like, Penny swears it's mine, but you never
know with these type of girls.
And then he snatches the envelope of money out of his hand and walks away because we know he's a good person deep down.
He's a good person.
And you can tell he sympathized with Penny a lot. Like he was
very kind to her.
Very kind to Penny.
He did like, what is it called? The Hippocratic Oath? He did it.
Yeah.
He truly lived by his oath,
The hippo.
The hip oath.
The hippo. Wow.
But yeah, so then.
That was such an iconic scene.
That was so iconic. Because at first, like, the movie's ending, you're like, excuse me, is Robbie not going to get
face
clocked?
Any issues?
Yeah. So then my favorite part is that all of a sudden the doors open.
So they're all on stage singing. At Kellerman sing together. And like, everyone's just kind of like accepting the summer's ending, but the doors like
open.
Aragorn coming in the two towers all wet and drenched, and it's Lord of the Rings. But anyway.
Yeah.
It's such a good scene, and everyone's like, Johnny's here, Johnny's back.
And he's just wearing a leather jacket.
Ray-Bans.
Oh, he looks so good.
He struts. He doesn't even walk. He struts up to the table with baby, her mom, and her dad. Looks at her dad and goes,
Nobody puts baby in the corner. Iconic.
And then we all die.
And then they dance. And he basically says, he gets up on stage. He literally interrupts the show. And he's like, I know that this summer was cut short for me, but I want to give it one last
because I always choreographed the last performance, and I'm not going to let it change this year.
And he says, and I'm going to be dancing with Francis.
Ugh.
And they dance.
They do the dance that they rehearsed for. And the iconic song starts. I don't know how to finish sentences today. They dance, and it's so good because they're having so much fun, and they're giggling and laughing and kissing. And, like, everyone joins in, like, even the old women in the audience.
Oh, they do, first and foremost, they do the lift.
Yes, yeah.
They finally do the lift, which, going back to your theory,
each other.
Yeah, they trust each other. They do the lift successfully. And then, everybody else joins in. Everybody's dancing, and
they have this iconic moment
where they're like mouthing the words to each other.
He's mouthing the words to her.
And
I had the time of my life.
And I owe it all to you.
And I owe it all to you. And it's like he's saying it to her.
It's so cute.
Like not just singing to be goofy. He's saying that to her.
And then they kiss and it zooms out and
Well, he does get an apology from Baby's dad.
Baby's dad. I forgot that part.
He says, I know you didn't get Penny in that rough spot. And when I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong. And he tells Baby, you looked wonderful up there. And it's so sweet. And all he wanted was her dad's like acceptance. Yeah. And it's just such a good ending to the movie. Like you don't have to know what happens afterwards.
You don't need to know.
Whatever happens, happens. It's just such a good iconic ending to a good iconic movie. Not even good, great, a million, amazing, brilliant, talented.
Danielle, do you like Dirty Dancing?
I hate it.
Yeah, I thought so.
Worst movie. It's so good. I love this movie. Catherine, I have a question for you about this movie.
What?
Now, how did this movie fuck you up?
This movie... I feel like this movie fucked me up because it really made me believe that some hot ass, muscular ass, cheekboned ass dude who could dance
ass-assed
so good and, lived in a cool, bungalow was gonna take my sweet virginity and my breath away. But no, I think this movie fucked me up because even though it's like on paper should be like not good, like it's
it's
just like a cheesy romance, but like it just has so much heart, and the chemistry between them is so good. It just is like, it
hits the spot.
It just makes you realize how, like, it's not about how long love lasts or, you know, like if it's forever, but it's just like how you change each other in the moment that really matters. So that's how this movie fucked me up. Aww. Now, Danielle, I have a little question for you.
I'm very uncomfortable with the energy we've created in the studio
how
today.
did this movie fuck you up?
How did this movie fuck me up?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay. Gosh. You know, honestly, it fucks me up in a lot of ways, but I will say the way it fucks me up externally at this point in my life is it brings back a lot of nostalgic feelings I have while watching it with my mom. Because me and my mom used to watch this movie every time it was on cable. We were not allowed to watch anything else. We would watch it every single time. And my mom passed away about 1.5 years ago. So it brings back very fond memories of watching this with her in the living room and just talking about how hot Patrick Swayze is together. Like, meanwhile, I'm also thinking, like, Jennifer Grey is so hot. But yeah, it just reminds me of my mom a lot, and it's really nice because it's like, it's crazy because they both had pancreatic cancer, her and Patrick Swayze, which is, and it's like always had this link.
I remember when you first said that your mom had pancreatic cancer. You were like, me and EJ are gonna watch Dirty Dancing, and I was like, oh, Patrick Swayze had pancreatic cancer, and you guys were like, wait.
I didn't even make the connection. Yeah. So they both passed from the same thing. So I think it's a movie that's always definitely gonna have like a very special place in my heart outside of even just being a really great movie. I think it's just very heartwarming, and like it kind of feels like a warm hug when I watch it. Like, I'm able to just like let all my emotions go when I watch it, not think about like what I'm feeling or thinking or how people are going to view me when I'm watching it, because it just feels like when I watch it, I'm watching it with my mom. And it just feels like she's always here every time I watch this movie. Okay. So it fucks me up in that way. Like, it's not about the movie itself. It's about the relationship I have with the movie as well. I
do feel like this movie has that, like, it's like generations of moms and daughters can share it. But thank you for sharing that, Danielle. Of course. Being vulnerable for the microphone, for the people. And yeah.
We only have one more thing left to discuss, ma'am.
Did they?
Didn't they?
They sure goddamn did.
They did the damn thing.
They did. And they did it with pride.
And sensuality.
Sensualities. Yeah, they just did it all. And
it's just so good.
We stan
this movie.
We really are stans.
I can't help it.
Me either. Fuck
it. It's always going to be up there.
I feel like the way you are with this movie, like, wait till we do Titanic.
Oh, no.
Titanic.
Yeah, this movie, if you've listened to this and you haven't watched it, like, I'm sorry for where you are at this point in your life, but like, you can elevate your life by watching this movie. It
currently is on HBO Max.
At the point of recording, you never know with streaming services when it's going to go somewhere else, but it is on HBO Max. It is worth watching. Please donate to your local Planned Parenthood, or just go on PlannedParenthood.org.
Support.
Or abortionfunds.org. Support women who are in need of these services, and
consider their perspectives and their experiences, and why they're making this extremely difficult decision. And like and subscribe to
leave
us.
A review, please.
Leave a review. Tell us what you want us to review on this show.
Yeah, please let us know, because we're running out of ideas. Just kidding.
There's a million movies. And just give us a download. I don't know where you're listening, but just download it,
Yeah, and all the other things that all the cool podcasters say at the end.
Because we know what we're doing.
We're profesh.
All right. Well, that was another episode of
Will They, Won't They? We'll listen, see you, talk to you next week. That's what we're going to do.
We'll listen, see, talk to you next week.
Bye.